popcorn. We are two niggas spoiling movies. Yeah. Brandon Collins, that's me, and Justin Brown for your movie needs. Media popcorn. Woo! You haven't seen it, well, we're gonna spoil it. Spoil it in your face. That's your warning. So if you get pissed, it's all your fault.
Hey there, Sunshine Toes and Dippy Dippy Does. It's Eddie Collins.
Guys, this is Justin Brown. I have no idea what Brandon was saying back there.
Well, what I'm saying is we're Medium Popcorn Niggas spoiling movies. And folks, we will be living up to that title because we're spoiling a pretty new film that just got released. But real quick, Justin, I think we should talk to the people about why our audio sounds so drastically different from previous episodes. So what's happening on your end right now?
Okay, so so just 2 days ago, my my laptop's battery just completely died. So I had to take it to the Apple store, not going to get it back for like a week. And then, but like, I would say like maybe a few months back, my iPad, had like conked out, but like they had refunded me like money for my iPad, this random program that I had. And, so like I had the money just sitting in my account, and like knowing we had to record, I was just like, fuck, I need something. I don't have a laptop. I don't have an iPad. So I went out and just bought an iPad. But then like with all the dongles and shit like that, I just haven't figured out how to get my setup actually onto this, to work with everything. So there's just going to be a learning curve with, how to set this shit up.
Yep. And then for me, so I made this announcement on the Patreon on my mini episode. So folks remember, sign up for patreon.com/media popcorn to get access to hundreds and hundreds of hours of bonus content, as well as, Justin and I's mini episodes. And on that one, I shared the news that I've actually moved to LA because I'm doing a writing thing for a big movie studio. I can't say which one yet, but I'm out here on the West Coast. So I have like a little makeshift microphone set up. I will be shipping out like the professional stuff out here within a few weeks. But yeah, that's the reason why on my end, the audio is a little different compared to what you usually ready for on your ears.
Yeah, I mean, on my end, my audio will be back up and running, by the beginning of next week. So this will pretty much be the only episode that I'll sound like this. But, actually, Brandon, I don't think your audio is all that bad, but I know at the same time, it's just going to be, a little tough with, everything going on, with you getting everything.
Yeah, exactly. And the time zone difference, they don't tell you, man, that's a motherfucker. Like I'm so, like being on Eastern Standard Time and now on Pacific Time. I try to talk to people back home. They're like, man, why you texting me at midnight? It sounds like you want to fuck. I'm like, I just want to talk.
I'm lonely.
But yeah, it's been cool, man. It's been cool. Like good being at the studio and seeing like all the stuff happening on the lot and meeting a bunch of different writers and stuff. It's been cool. And I'm honestly I'm talking about this because I don't want to talk about this movie that much that we're about to review. Just because the longer I've had to sit with this movie, the less inspired it feels. Does that make sense?
Okay. I feel you. I understand.
I feel like such a placeholder with like big stakes, but they didn't have really big stakes. It was weird.
I see why you say that, and I mean, because obviously we text on the side, and you texted me. You said I felt a little bit underwhelmed by the film, and like I definitely agreed. After first view, but some things I kind of just like did a little bit more research, and and I learned a few things which actually kind of helped me kind of figure out what was going on, the things I had missed, and also why it seemed a little bit disjointed for me. So I think that kind of helps. I know we're also going to get into it, but also, Brandon, I'll have you know that actually I may be coming out to California sometime next month.
Oh. But we might miss each other because I'm going to be back in New York next month for Juneteenth shows and my birthday, probably.
Oh no, I'll be back before your Juneteenth show. But because actually a film that I did actually got into a film festival in San Francisco, and I had to come out, see the film, do the mixers and all that kind of stuff. So I'll be out there for there, and then on the 21st, I'll be also at the Manhattan Film Festival. They're going to be showing it there. So like, oh, I ain't done. Niggas still in the game.
I'm so glad that early graves getting repeat business like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah, so I mean, I'm actually pretty excited about it because, like, it's with kids and all that stuff like that. I kind of took a step back, as I just settled into my life. Mm-hmm. But then I did this film, a few months back, and it's been getting a pretty good reception. It's a short film, but like, yes, and then I actually going to be filming another one come July. So the kid's back in the game.
All right. Who's also back in the game? Doctor Strange.
Ooh, look at that transition.
Yeah, that's how I'll do it. But here's the thing. And someone, I forgot who on film Twitter said this, but Doctor Strange is way better as a supporting character. He's not a great lead.
I think part of it is the fact is Doctor Strange as a character, he's a dick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, but in a different way that Tony Stark was a dick. It's just like Doctor Strange somehow, and this is hard because we're talking about Tony Stark that you were doing a comparison to. He comes off a little bit more pompous, and I don't think that necessarily sells with a lot of people. Especially in just today's day and age. You know what I'm saying? He's very kind of elitist because, like, and part of his arc in this film was about the fact is, that he always has to be the one to do the thing. You know what I'm saying? He has to save the day. Rachel McAdams' character is like, he always has to be the one with the knife. And so like it's like he has a hard time letting go of control and letting other people shine, which is part of what makes him, but also what leads to him kind of moving towards the dark side because he can't let that go.
Yeah. I mean, like, we saw What If, where Doctor Strange essentially becomes the big villain of the multiverse because he's like destroying all these universes trying to save Rachel McAdams' character. And this, we see a few iterations of bad Doctor Strange, which were kind of cool, like to see Benedict Cumberbatch, because a good actor do that. The only thing is, I don't know if it's the way they write him or the way that they decided to portray these characters, but Rachel McAdams and Benedict Cumberbatch are pretty charming actors. And in this, there's absolutely no charm. Rachel McAdams at points, when she's talking to America, it seemed like she didn't want to be there. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I also think I think you can also kind of attribute that to parts of the fact that it is the multiverse, and like they are different people within the multiverse, and what's her fucking name? Not Rachel.
America.
Christine. Rachel McAdams' character, Christine. Yeah. Right. So Christine, because of her, Stephen Strange dying again, guys. Spoiler alert. I don't know if but Strange dying in that universe, and the idea of who he was and what happened. She is a little bit. She's not as sweet and caring as the Christine from 616.
Yep, which is interesting because the Earth 616, someone pointed out that could be Easter egg for Mysterio, and actually that Quentin Peck wasn't lying about being from the multiverse because he specifically identifies the MCU Earth as 616, which not many people know that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there could be some truth that there's other Mysterios out there, which would be dope to bring them back.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we didn't get the MCU Mordo. Like there's a bunch of alternate like variants of like some the characters that we've seen before. We'll get to the Illuminati in a few because I have some thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, I for some reason I think I wrote a better movie in my head. I think I really took advantage of the multiverse like in my head compared to what they did in this movie.
Well, it's funny because like I kind of felt. I think part of the reason I felt underwhelmed was because with all of the multiverse and everything that was going on, I had such lofty expectations for what this movie would mean, what it's going to set up. Is some of the things that can happen, and being the fact that like none of that happened, I did feel a little bit, kind of let down. But then you kind of have to let that go because obviously you're not the writer, and this movie is in sense, like you said earlier, a bit of a placeholder because like, all right, like Captain America, Winter Soldier, Civil War, they set up things that have to be immediately addressed. Avengers broke up. Winter Soldier, he's still out there, and all that shit. So, but this one, it didn't set up anything that's immediately pressing for this moment. It's just like, okay, here's another thing that's happening, which is going to be a part of the grand scheme, but we still haven't introduced the grand scheme yet.
Yeah, this movie accomplished, I think, the only two things that it really pushed forward is it wrapped up. If this is the last we saw of Wanda, it wrapped up her story.
Yeah,
in an epic way.
Very well.
In a way that Game of Thrones tried to with Daenerys, they actually did it really well with Scarlet Witch. And then they introduced America, who can transport between multiverses. So if there's anyone that could potentially be in a bunch of different projects and movies going forward during this multiverse phase, it would be her. So that was a key character. I'm like, okay, they're definitely going to use her a lot. I mean, that's the whole catalyst of the plot, right? Is that Scarlet Witch is sending these demons in different universes to try to catch her because she has the power that she can harness to be able to try to find her sons from WandaVision. So that's another thing too, is that this movie, I was like, yo, if you haven't seen WandaVision or obviously the first Doctor Strange, but WandaVision and What If, this doesn't really resonate with you the way it
actually
should.
To tell you the truth, I don't think you necessarily need to see What If. You need to see WandaVision. If you happen to watch WandaVision, you're going to be fucking lost.
I think you need What If though for the Peggy Carter episode to get why people were cheering when she showed up in the Illuminati. You know what I mean?
Yes, but at the same time, with the way it was set up, the characterization of that character with the shield, you can already tell this is a different version, a variant of Captain America, right? So I don't think that that's as far removed. Like people will figure that shit out. But the fact that if you didn't see WandaVision, you're gonna be completely lost to whatever the fuck is happening in this one. And I think that is the huge thing. But because like this whole movie is all predicated off, that book. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of it. The book that Wanda had. Well,
that she turned into a Scarlet Witch, right?
Yeah. So that Agatha had in WandaVision, which then a Scarlet Witch got him, but she was immediately at the end of WandaVision, she was, that's when she heard her son screaming, "Mom, help," and stuff like that. Yeah. So she was immediately being, pulled by the dark side, by the dark arts due to that book. So anyone who uses it gets it.
Yeah, which is wild because those screams that she probably heard, I don't know. Like I need to rewatch it, but what if they synced up with at the end when she's scaring the kids, and they're screaming to their actual universe, "Mom, help!" But that's what she heard, and so this whole time she's been trying to prevent what she actually created.
Yeah.
Which again, like WandaVision, like you need to watch that series. One, because Elizabeth Olsen kills it, but also because it really shows for us as audiences that have watched all that. To us, she's not a like straight villain. Like when she said that line to Stephen Strange, is also in the trailer, where she's like, you get to change all the shit and you're a hero. I do it and I'm the villain. That doesn't seem fair. And I'm like, exactly. He literally a lot of bad shit's happened because of Stephen Strange. We all were blaming Iron Man, but Stephen Strange gave up the time whatever stone to Thanos, which based on, I mean, I know you saw a billion possibilities, so that was the one that like you saw that they would win. But even still, like you caused a lot of pain when that happened, bro. And then the Spider-Man stuff,
Yeah.
which did this movie give Sony a failsafe on the multiverse?
What do you mean?
There was a comment about how if you stay in a different universe too long, like eventually those universes will clash, and then one of them will fail to exist. And what if,
Mm.
because Michael Keaton in Morbius got sent to the Sony one, what if they use that as like, we got one more movie to see if this shit works? If not, we're just gonna erase the universe. That'd be wild, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that could be, yeah, yeah.
It's just the thought I had.
Um,
They got really good weed out here in California, man. It's like I've been thinking about a lot of shit.
yeah, yes, sir. I don't know, man. It's very interesting because like we do get so much like so we get the backstory of why Stephen Strange is the way that he is because his sister drowned. He couldn't save her, so that's why he has why he's compelled, to be the one to save everything. That's why he wants so much control. So part of his arc is actually letting go of that, so he can trust other people to do their shit, because by doing it himself he ends up causing a ton of trouble. But I think we should just start because it is important. We start off with America Chavez, who I think the actress who played America Chavez, she did a great job.
She did a really good job. Even with all the poor CGI, because there was a lot of it for some reason.
Yes.
I don't know why, but this did not look smooth like Spider-Man did.
Yeah, it didn't. I think she did a great job. I think Marvel did a great job at bringing that character to the screen, like even her costume and things like that. And it's actually most of her, her backstory actually does come from the comics. Having her two moms and stuff like that. That does come from the comics. I know some people be like, "Oh, they're trying to force in some gay thing." It's like, nope, that was.
Yeah, this movie got banned in a few countries because of the two moms comment. And just the quick flashback where you don't even see them kiss; they're just holding hands, I think.
Yeah, people are fucking out of their goddamn minds. But the only thing that changed is like they were, thrown through, one of her portals into the multiverse. But in the actual story, it was her sister which was pulled through. So like that's pretty much the one thing that changed with her character. But regardless,
but that was a great story arc, though. That was a great story arc because she can't control her powers, and so she feels she's never tried to really harness them because she feels guilty about her powers because what happened to her moms. I thought that was really powerful.
It was very X-Men-esque.
Well, we'll get to that. I feel like it's weird because like I like what they did, but at the same time, I'm like, this nigga's getting really old. You can't keep using him. Like, like I love using Patrick Stewart, but like he can't keep playing this character. Like eventually he gonna die, and then y'all gonna just have CGI Patrick Stewart.
Listen, when he was in that little turtleneck, that motherfucker looked like fucking Grimace. Actually, he looked like Roger from American Dad. That turtleneck was dripping. But I mean, he's an old man. He's a really old man.
I did like seeing him in this movie.
So did I.
And then he also, you peeped the kind of chair he was in and the music.
Yeah.
So a lot of people say that that's the Professor X from the TV show.
Yeah.
Which is wild.
Well, so that they rebooted that show.
Yeah, they're bringing it back, right?
Yeah, so they're rebooting that show. So there is talks that maybe they're going to be using that cartoon show to actually bring the X-Men into the MCU, and the X-Men from the 90s cartoon is going to be the X-Men that actually come into the MCU when that actually does happen. And that show is actually going to be the lead-in. So once that continues on, they're saying like that may actually lead into Secret Wars and everything happening, because this is the Secret Wars is what they're setting up.
Yep.
Okay, but all right, America Chavez and Stephen Strange. This is a variant of Doctor Strange. They're running kind of in like a parallel universe,
like
which
portal. Like it's a multiverse that has like different like portal steps and stuff like that. It's kind of
well,
like
no. So that it's a space between the multiverses. So it exists between the multiverse, but that's where Doctor Strange hid like the book of Ashanti, which is basically the book of good, while the one that Scarlet Witch has is the book of evil, whatever. Yep. So they're running towards the book. They're being chased by this demon thing, which very much looked like the fucking the
thing from Moana, right? Oh,
huh?
You said Matrix? Oh yeah, like the little robot thing. I thought it was the one, the island from Moana that's like volcano-ish. That's what it kind of looked like.
I was getting Matrix, and you know I don't like the Matrix. I don't know how I felt about that, but within that, Doctor Strange is just like, you can't control your powers. I know I can control the powers. Yeah. So he was basically going to take her power from her and kill her for the greater good, which, mind you, that line is something that he said to Peter when he was basically ready to sacrifice all of the people from, in No Way Home, all of the villains. It's like that their death is all a part of the greater good. So yeah, with that, it actually shows about like this is who he is, but in different universes he's ready to sacrifice people, and that's something he has to let go. So that's part of his character as well.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's very few good Doctor Stranges in the multiverses, apparently.
Yeah. Because it seems like 616 is the only one who kind of sorts of gets it, and he's just like, maybe I need to not be the fucking idiot.
Yeah, that's why when Mortal finds him, he's like, oh yeah, we gotta lock you up. Like the Illuminati will sentence you to death because if there's more of y'all, Yeah,
because like, oh nigga, you a problem. A problem.
Which might mean he's the only one that could help take down Kang, the Conqueror.
Well, why do you say that?
Because remember, Kang and Loki, they said that Kang was like the multiverse, like he was the one that like stopped the multiverse war.
Yeah.
Because there's worse variants of him that essentially want to take over all the multiverses, right?
Yeah.
So we probably need Doctor Strange at the like whatever end game of this next phase is to take him down with America Chavez.
Actually, I don't think that's how it's going to happen.
I mean,
I mean, if you know what happens in the Secret Wars, Kang wins, and like everything gets destroyed. But then there's a new multiverse that's made, but I don't know if they're going to necessarily go that way, because Doctor Doom actually creates that a new universe which brings in characters, and then they go out and kind of fix everything.
Interesting. I mean, I do feel like we're getting into some muddy waters here with the multiverse stuff. I feel like, especially like with Moon Knight and being like, I don't know what this is setting up, and like all these multiverse stories. I'm like, I feel like they're starting to put too much in their arms. They should probably let go some stuff. There's gonna be a lot of spillage.
100%. It's way too fucking confusing. But to get back, Doctor Strange ends up getting killed by that monster. Well, he kind of sacrifices himself, and then he gets pulled. His body. America Chavez. They get pulled through the portal, which
616, which that corpse comes into play later.
Yes,
which is
so also actually with the Doctor Strange thing is the fact is like he still won't respect the fact that Wong is the sorcerer. Wong is the sorcerer supreme. So him actually having to come to terms with the fact it's like, hey, I'm not the nigga in charge. I don't have all the knowledge, and it's somebody else. Like that's a part of character. So like that kind of stuff, I was there for, because at least he learned something. and we actually got a decent arc out of it. But I just felt like, again, this movie could have been so much more.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think the best thing about this movie, and I told Tatiana as soon as we got to the theater, is Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda. I think Wanda's story arc from the first scene we see her, where she's like, has her little fake farm with a bunch of trees and stuff, and Stephen Strange is asking her about the multiverse and if she'll help him, and then she's just like, maybe you should bring America here, and then she's like, she stops herself and she's like, you never told me her name, and then Stephen Strange is like, no, and then it reveals that she's like been the one creating all the demon stuff. I was just like, that's such a dope moment if you know how crazy Wanda's gone since she lost Vision, right? Like I was like, that's a perfect way to integrate her into the story. And then the horror elements I thought were good. Sam Raimi did his thing with some of the horror elements, like when she's like going to the different universes and like possession and shit. I was like, okay, that's a pretty cool.
Bro, when she was coming out of the fucking water, out of any like mirrors or any reflections, and then she crawled through like the gong like she was a ring. Like that shit was actually more like Pennywise.
Yeah, that's how it felt.
Yeah. So like I thought that was really dope. But I kind of wish that they actually held back on revealing the fact that she was orchestrating this whole thing and made it almost like a more of a big surprise. So like they brought her to what's that
the temple,
the Kamartai, whatever it's called, the Kamartaj, whatever, and then she fucking went into what she did. But if they did that, we wouldn't get the scene of her kind of manipulating people and fucking with their heads and whatnot. But like, I kind of wish that we kind of they could have held off just a little bit more on that reveal, because I think that would have fucking hit a little bit harder.
I see what you're saying. I still think her story arc was dope, like especially when she was like, attacking the one multiverse where in all the other multiverses she's happy with her kids. But the one particularly that they end up with in the third act when she's terrorizing that Wanda, I just thought that was like really good, like horror and like just a really dark turn. I'm like, because doesn't Wong ask her that, like, what are you gonna do with you in this universe?
Yeah.
And she's like, the kids will still have a mom, and that was like, that's some dark shit to be like, but also the writer, he was a writer for Rick and Morty, so he's been down this road before. Michael Waldron, he's done this before.
I guess like Wanda's story arc was pretty much the highlight,
absolutely,
of the film as a whole. But I just, this almost felt like this was, like we said earlier, like a continuation of WandaVision.
Yeah, it felt more like that, a continuation of WandaVision, than it was like a sequel to the story of No Way Home and stuff like that. Because besides that quick line about how he tried to help Spider-Man, and now the multiverses are all fucked up, which means he knows he helped Spider-Man, but he doesn't know who Spider-Man is. He remembers that. Okay, got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So like, I don't know.
And the third eye thing with the with the dark magic he used and stuff, like, because he uses dark magic essentially to possess the dead version of him in the 616, because they get stuck in a different multiverse, universe or whatever, and so he possesses this demon, and then these demon souls try to like take him back and be like, you can't like reincarnate the dead or whatever, or possess the dead. You can't possess the dead. He's able to fight those spirits off. But then, so when him doing the zombie Strange, that creates a third eye because of the dark magic he's used. Okay, I was just like, I don't care about this.
So basically, he's been corrupted by. So that dark magic will corrupt people, right?
Okay. So like the ring from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
So basically, there was an entity that, well, I'm not going to go too far into it because I don't know the names that well, but it's just an entity that created some other characters where they came from him, but it was kind of forced into that book, right? It was forced into that book in that temple. So it's calling people, to use that book because it then possesses them and it gives and it draws from their power.
Got it.
Right.
Okay.
So basically, it's very much like the ring. So the ring compels you. So now so Wanda is actually a descendant of that entity that's actually in that book. So hence why the Scarlet Witch is on the on that whole temple and whatnot. So even though that movie ends with her destroying it, thus wiping that book out of all multiverses and everything, she somehow that entity still was able to corrupt Stephen Strange, and he gets the third eye. But if you think about it, the third eye was actually spoken about by the great one, whatever her fucking name is.
Oh, so the Swinton's character.
Yeah, Tilda Swinton's character in the first Doctor Strange, she says to him, you need to use your third eye. So if you think about it, like the third eye, like, is it a source of like a greater power that like maybe Sorcerer Supremes can pull from, in some aspects, or like that's the thing that's kind of interesting, with this whole thing, because it's connected in some way. Did she know that he was going to somehow go down this path? I'm just like kind of like, all right, so like, how does this all come together?
Yeah, because that leads into the post-credit scene with Charlize Theron. She pops up as a sorceress named Clea, who apparently is like the niece or the daughter of Dormammu, the god that he fought in the first movie.
Yeah.
And so it's all about dark magic. All I know is that I want to see the MCU Mordo unite with all the multiverse Mordos and go after Doctor Strange. Like, I think if we're gonna have these writers from Rick and Morty do an evil Morty, get all these motherfuckers in the same universe, try to kill this dude.
Okay, well, made this movie seem like, and again, they did some good things great. I kind of wanted to see more multiverse. It's like going to multiverses and us seeing, a la Rick and Morty, how these multiverses really differ from where they're from. You know what I'm saying? Instead of that scene where they're just like going through all the multiverses, and one of them, I don't know if you caught it, but one of them they went through, you had this huge head with the glowing eyes. That's the one above all. That's the thing that has like the fucking four heads.
Oh,
it's
from
like
Eternals?
it's like yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not an Eternal. It's like above the Eternals.
It's a thing,
but like,
yeah, okay, I get it.
Yeah, that huge like fucking thing, but like that like which I thought that was a pretty cool Easter egg. But like, instead of just going through them, it's just like, why didn't we stop? Like, also America Chavez, she has this power that she can't control. How about we get pulled through a few different fucking
That's what I thought was going to happen in that scene when he's going to the different worlds and you see his face fall apart and like they're paint at one point. I thought it was going to be like they go to this one universe and then Wesley Snipes from Blade pops up. They go into another because Tom Cruise is always running to play Iron Man. Tom Cruise pops up as Iron Man. Like a bunch of quick little scenes like that, because now that's what Batman's do. That's what the Flash is doing. And so in regards to this multiverse game, I don't know how well they'll do it, but I thought they were going to beat Flash to the punch by having all these really cool cameos. The only one they really pulled off was John Krasinski as Reed Richards. But even for me, for some reason, because I kept hearing his name associated with that role, it wasn't that much of a surprise when I saw Jim from The Office. I was like, yeah, motherfuckers been talking about him and Emily Blunt being those characters for like the longest.
Yeah, but you heard that he's actually going to be directing an MCU movie.
I did hear that rumor. I mean, I know he's working on Quiet Place 3 and some other shit, but that'd be dope. I mean, I don't know if he would want to do the Fantastic Four, but I definitely think like
I don't think it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be something else.
Yeah, I think though his Reed Richards could work if they give him a little bit more energy and make him a little bit more fun. He was, yeah, he was so serious. I get it,
Well,
the Illuminati, but I was like, damn.
Well, I mean, it was. I mean, it was also interesting. We got Captain Marvel, but we got the Black Captain Marvel, aka the other pilot. So she was Captain Marvel. Also
was it 007 and No Time to Die.
Yeah. So was it Black Bolt or
Black Bolt, and that's the same. That it's a different variant of the same character from the Inhumans, which is that short-lived ABC Marvel show that no one watched. So that's why a few people were like, "Oh shit, it's him!" And then,
which apparently he was like one of the only things good in that film.
Yeah, that's what I read too. That's definitely what I read. And then Haley Atwell as Peggy Carter, Captain Carter.
Which also, like, I love her.
bro, have you seen? Like, you wouldn't think it by seeing like the way they dress her up in these Marvel shows and stuff like that. Have you seen her on like the red carpet?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I gotta look it up. My third eye is open.
But that Illuminati scene was the best scene in the movie. Besides the music note fights, I thought her taking out all the Illuminati. I was about to say alumni. That was pretty dope. Like when she took out Professor X, bro.
Nah, when she took out Black Bolt, that was a great death. Yeah. I thought that was probably one of the best deaths that I've seen in fucking just like a comic book movie. But this is also like one of the few movies where we actually got like, a quote unquote hero actually really taking out motherfuckers, or like even a villain taking out people like in like a brutal fashion and like really showing off their power.
Yeah, she wiped the floor with them. I mean, when she cut Peggy Carter in half, I was like, oh, this movie playing zero games right now.
Yeah, I mean, but she was just like, you don't want him to open his mouth. He was like, what mouth? This one was like, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah,
and then she's just like, and your polio spring cheese, nigga.
Yeah, I mean, I did write down, I was like, I'm not surprised that some parents are saying, what the fuck was that? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like out of all the Marvel movies, they should have done more to warn, because it wasn't even as horror as it was initially supposed to be. The original director from the first one dropped out because I think they wouldn't let him go full horror the way he wanted to with this story. So that's why they got Sam Raimi. But even then, I was like, oh, this is probably the most violent superhero movie that's been PG-13 that I've seen.
Yeah.
She's walking on broken glass. Her body's all contorted. She's bleeding from half her face. And she's also about to murder a mother in front of her children. Like they were playing zero games in the second half of
and she's also on top of that chasing down a teenager to suck the life force out of her so she could take her powers to then murder the mother in front of her children.
Again, Scarlet Witch is the reason why this movie works. I did not care about Rachel McAdams' character getting married and Stephen Strange feeling alone.
Yeah.
I'm like, that scene just it was like 7 minutes too, and I hate the corniness with her husband being like, I'm a big fan. They're watching him like float away and shit have to fight the squid. I was like, this is kind of corny now.
Well, didn't that kind of have some very strong Spider-Man?
Yep.
Yeah.
There's some Spider-Man homages in that movie.
Spider-Man. And I was just like, how can you guys say that Spider-Man is the best Spider-Man when that campiness just was the worst thing in this movie?
I mean, it doesn't work anymore, definitely. And I do have to say this about Sam Raimi. Please, from a request from Brandon, stop using Bruce Campbell. I don't think he's funny. He never brings anything to the table. I don't know why people enjoy seeing his cameos. I think they're garbage. This cameo took away 90 seconds from like another cameo that could have been way cooler or impactful. I didn't care about and the fact that was the post credit scene made me lose my mind with him still punching himself in the face. I get it; it's an Evil Dead reference, but I was just like, "Fuck you."
Well, I mean, it's also just the fact is like, I felt it wasn't really all that earned within the movie. Like it added zero stakes. And I know a cameo is just a cameo, it's just supposed to be fun. But I felt like they could have done something a little bit better if they're gonna bring in Bruce Campbell, make it mean something, you know.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I felt like that didn't really serve the story or anything. It was just this random thing, and I know that's what he does, and it's because he loves the guy, but at the same time, it's just like,
yeah, man. For me, it's like there's, and to be fair, I never fully got over Spider-Man 3. Like Sam Raimi really fucked me up with Spider-Man 3 because Spider-Man 2 is so good. I remember seeing Spider-Man 3 in the movie theater, and I had my head in my hands because I'm like, why is this so? Once he started dancing after going to the discount suit store, I was like, oh, this is where are we at now? Like, it was like, what the fuck? Yeah, so
and
I never.
I can see Sam Raimi behind the camera just. Get him, Toby.
I'm just like, yeah, like I can't fuck with you. I can't fuck with you, man. But then I heard, Marvel did reach out to him to do this, and so I'm like, if he's coming back to the superhero genre, let me see what he's gonna do with it. And there, like the horror elements and the Wanda stuff, fantastic. Everything else is just it felt like a dragged. Unless there was a scene with Steven and Wong or Steven and America, it dragged. It was not the only time that Stephen Strange had a really dynamic scene was when he was literally fighting the other Stephen Strange in that one crazy universe where the house is like floating away and shit. And they did the musical notes. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was dope. I will say I thought Wong was badass in this.
He needs to be in he needs to get his own show. That's what he needs. He needs to get his own TV show. He's awesome. That actor is just awesome in that role.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, but like, I think, they really, I think they're doing a good job at elevating Wong to a point where you're just like, oh, okay, there's a reason that he's Sorcerer Supreme, and it's not just because Steven wasn't there.
Yeah, but in the third one, what usually happens? The hero always takes a really big loss, and so I feel like Steve. I know. I feel like Mordo being the big bad possibly would take Wong out to make it have that emotional impact that you need to have for that final showdown between the two of them.
Yep.
So that's why I'm like, I want him to get TV shows so that happens before that happens.
I mean, I imagine you saw that there was a big push, to create a TV show for him that's centered around him, and it's like, yeah, I mean, well deserved because like you said, they're gonna take him out at some point, and like it's just like let's show him some love.
Yeah, definitely. I did read something that said that tomb that she was in might be setting up the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is supposed to be potentially the High Evolutionary. And
wait, which tomb?
The tomb that she destroyed everything in.
You're talking about
the home of the
Darkhold.
The home of the Darkhold, yeah. So because the High Evolutionary is also the person that created Rocket. And so like
gotcha.
The rumor is that I'm blanking on the black British actor from Peacemaker, the guy who's in charge of the squad. That's the role he's playing in Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Okay.
Which would be cool, except for the fact that this is going to be one of like at least 4 to 5 villains that are black men in the MCU. And I'm not sure how I feel about that. You know what I mean?
True. I mean, but at the same time, it's just like, we're the villain's always the best part. The villain makes the movie. And,
that was the case here.
So I mean, yeah, the villain elevates every movie, and so I was like, I'm fine with that as long as it's good, But I don't know, man. Like I feel like this obviously, like we said earlier, is setting up for for Secret Wars and more. But at the same time, I felt like yes, we saw the end of possibly the end of Wanda's story arc. Yep. We saw Stephen Strange kind of find himself and also that fucking third eye. But it really didn't set us on a path, on a clear-cut path towards where we're going. And that's the one thing that kind of, I guess, left me like not being fulfilled.
Yeah, and also I kept thinking this movie didn't even have to be over 2 hours. You could have really consolidated the scene where she is at like the tomb with the Illuminati, and
Mm,
Rachel McAdams is running with America to try to get her away from Wanda and stuff. And then like the ending with that tomb, like with the tomb with the dark hole, you could have combined those scenes a little bit because they were like two separate endings and fight sequences that I don't think you really need that. Like because I think pacing wise, this movie was struggling, especially in the second act. I felt like
yeah,
there was parts where it really dragged. Like I said, anything with Rachel McAdams in that alternate universe was mad slow because
yeah.
it was like I don't need this scene with her talking about how she knows about what Stephen Strange did in this universe and how he was a bad guy. I was like, oh shit, when they did kill Stephen Strange, the Illuminati,
Mm,
I was like, oh, that's pretty wild.
yeah.
They had Black Bolt do it. I was like, whew, imagine you're the one that takes out one of your own.
So I think one thing that I found a little bit interesting about just the way this I guess the way it was just set up is like, all right, so in that, so he becomes the villain. He becomes a villain. Fuck, I feel like I just lost my train of thought because I started thinking about fucking Black Bolt fucking disintegrating this nigga.
Oh yeah.
Well, also the fact is that they used a dark hole to figure out a way of how to. So Strange used a dark hole to figure out how they were going to get rid of Thanos. But well, no,
No, he didn't use the dark hole, but he used some pretty heavy magic to do the different outcomes.
so or was it? No, it was the Book of Vishanti. Vishanti.
I mean, we're getting into the weeds now, bro.
Yeah. No, well, either way, but he got too deep into it, and then he caused a fucking he destroyed a world by doing that shit because he was too much time in fucking the multiverses.
Well, that's another thing I did love is that Wanda essentially kind of blames Steven for the shit that happened with Vision. And she's like, I had to kill the man, the person I love, and then watch him die again. So it was all for nothing. Like I have all this trauma, which she was still gonna have, but she has all of it because she thought she was doing the right thing by destroying his stone, because you're not supposed to give up the stones. And I was like,
Yeah,
that's a lot because I don't think Stephen Strange as this is him reckoning with the decisions he made versus and having a chance to kind of try to redeem himself versus the other multiverse Stevens where like he's just irredeemable. It
yeah.
sounds like this that was an interesting that could have been a really interesting story arc for Benedict Cumberbatch and Stephen Strange, but they kept playing with these other things that I'm like that didn't really have the payoff that I was expecting this film to have.
Well, I mean, and even at the beginning, you have the guy at the church who's talking to him about the fact is like, when he was blipped, he lost his brother and he lost his cats and things like that. And he was like, there was really no other way, and he was just like, no, that was pretty much about it, So it is the fact is like, which also,
why don't they play into this more? They never play into like the MCU is very weird when it comes to like talking more about trauma and pain.
mhm.
Like it would have been interesting to know like who else has said something like that to Stephen Strange. Who else has like blamed him for all like that shit that
But nigga, how do they know?
happened?
Who told them? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, how the fuck did they know
That's
about what
probably
happened? Is just like, Doctor Strange, he saw everything, and he was just like, he gave up the fucking stone. It was that nigga's fault.
If it's probably the motherfucker that did the Thor plays, like how would they know all those details about Thor and Loki for those Asgardian plays and shit?
Well, like, because like it's so weird that everybody knows this. I mean, because Wanda wasn't there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, I don't know.
I said, we're definitely getting into muddy waters. The continuity is
Yeah.
going to be really hard to keep up unless they do what you said they're possibly going to do, which is just get to a huge reset of everything.
Yeah. This is the thing I wanted to talk about. So going back to Wanda, fighting, all of the Illuminati, and yes, she took them out. Like, first of all, how fucking powerful is this woman? Like, I didn't realize that she was that fucking formidable, which I know in the comics, she's very formidable to the point where she basically created a multiverse that everybody was living in, and she created it, to her, basically her will. And then like they had to fucking, figure out, you can't fucking do this. But the fact is, like, Professor X getting into her head and her taking him out that fucking easy was kind of just like, all right, how powerful is she? How depowered is Professor Xavier in this universe? Because Xavier is, a high level fucking mutant. So how is she able to take him out so fucking easy?
Yeah, I mean, it made her. That's why I'm like, I don't know if she's really dead, if she's that fucking powerful, but I think they killed her because her powers are too similar to the Phoenix from X-Men. And so it's like, let's take out Scarlet Witch, let's let that character like have that story arc, and let's give folks a few movies, a few TV shows where there's a break, and then we start introducing Jean Grey. So by the time we get the Phoenix, people are forgotten. Oh, this is very similar to Scarlet Witch. That's kind of how it feels.
But like, I guess. I guess it for me, it just comes down to the fact it's like she did all of this stuff, and they had the Illuminati, which almost basically regulates them like D-list characters. You know what I'm saying? They really made those characters all expendable. Also, it showed that like, Captain Marvel is like, she's one of the strongest people in MCU. No, she's not. Fucking Wanda would take her shit, will fucking push her shit in real fast. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, she took out the Black Captain Marvel. Yeah, she's not a joke.
And like, it wasn't.
She was the only one that gave her, but she was the only one that really gave her some pushback compared to the other ones.
True, but at the same time, it didn't seem like she sweat that much off of it. Listen. Wanda was a bad bitch, and I love it. I love how bad she was. I love like how she came in and she was really just all about that. Like, yo, I am fucking shit up today.
But that's also a testament to her performance too, because when she essentially she sees the trauma that she's given her sons in this alternate universe, and she has that breakdown between her and the other Wanda. I was like, this is some good acting, man. Like, this movie doesn't deserve this kind of performance, honestly. If I'm being truthful, it didn't deserve that good of a performance.
Yeah, I mean, but listen, I'm glad that we got it because, like, it really did give us, something to, like, really, sink our teeth into, for the film as a whole. And it's basically mainly her performance. And, obviously the introduction of some new things, but the new things that were introduced, were they really like groundbreaking?
Yeah, I thought Xochitl Gomez, who plays America Chavez, I thought she was really solid. But you're right. Besides those two women, there's nothing really there.
And big up to women in the MCU really doing fucking big things.
Oh yeah, because like they all have their own Avengers type movie soon. You could just feel it. Yeah. One thing, going to against your feedback saying that they should have introduced Wanda as the villain later in the movie. They initially were going to open with Wanda killing the MCU Mordo to show that she's the villain. And then she beheads him. That was the initial opening, but they changed it. I don't know if they changed it in like for reshoots or what have you, because I think that's why some of the CGI was a bit rough. I think they did a lot of reshoots.
So, all right. So here's the thing: is she's killing it. So basically, he figured out, this is a chick who's behind some serious shit that's coming. He probably came after her, and then he fucked around and found out.
Well, remember, she's also magic. So, and what did he say at the end of the first one? He was like, the world's had enough magicians or something like that. So it sounded like he's kind of like going out systematically trying to take out the magic niggas. Speaking of magic niggas, we have some Patriot thoughts to share about Doctor Strange.
Oh, baby.
And remember, folks, if you sign up for Patreon, your thoughts or mini reviews of the film that we pop up and say, hey, we're going to do a future episode on, are guaranteed to be read in the show. So first up is Jerry Braddock Jr. He writes, this movie is unlike any other MCU film. I found it to be very cheesy in some parts, kind of has a few campy elements, which is a typical directing style of Sam Raimi. I did like the horror elements in the film, added a nice twist to the MCU film structure. Overall, the movie wasn't bad. I'll give it a medium popcorn. Then Thayer A wrote, post is long, so no hard feelings if you can't read on the show. I give all the credit to Marvel for swinging for the fences. They usually do well at it, but sometimes it's a strike, i.e., Thor: The Dark World. And this film definitely had some fastballs they couldn't hit. The CGI, fight scenes, set design, costume design, and most of the cinematography was amazing. The music was decent. Sound design was excellent, but I really questioned some of their music supervisor choices. That super slow mo music fight was just gratuitous. And at one point, they used the intro music for the original Charm TV show when Wanda has seance. Honorable mention to the X-Men 90s jingle, though, Chef's Kiss. The director really likes these gold sepia hour studio shots. The set felt like the old Spider-Man films in that regard, which is what you were saying. There's some Spider-Man-esque vibes in this. Wong is a beast, no notes. America was good. Don't know too much about her character, but I liked what I saw. The theme of appearances being more important than what's real was a good through line from Strange appearing to be over Christine, to finding the octopus monster she needed to appear, to Wanda appearing content in an apple orchard, to the alternate universe appearing, to thinking of Strange as a hero, to America making multiverse worlds appear. None of it's true, and the movie would have really been disconnected if the thread wasn't there. Surprised at how well the horror came across, disregarding the campy extreme close shots, which I actually liked, but that's a Sam Raimi thing. Like that's something I do appreciate about his work. Sam Raimi also has a thing with like hot like people like in labs and shit, like shots of random like pretty women in lab coats and shit. He does that for some reason. But they wrote, surprised at how well the horror came across, disregarding the extreme campy close-up shots, especially Wanda attacking the minds of the students to break the magic wall, as well as looking into the eyes of the audience, breaking the fourth wall. That was crazy. I would not let my 10-year-old nephew watch this movie. It legit had 90s scary nightmare fuel. Okay. Yeah. Yep. I expected the serious tone, which was well done, but definitely didn't expect the comedy, which was also great. But the camp was just so damn camp. Not a fan there. More than once I thought, wait, did Sony make this? Ooh, damn. Marvel death suffering from too much of a good thing. Audience I saw had Infinity War as a baseline. Everything worse than that is Marvel falling off. If this was any other studio that does superhero movies, it would be their best, if not one of their best projects. Captain Marvel being Illuminati was a smart change since she deals with all the space stuff. Also, a side note, Black Panther is like 5 months away. I don't know. That's crazy to me. Overall, I thought it was a decent Marvel film. So that was it's a pretty long review from one of our patriots, but we appreciate the insight from Thayer A. And then Darren Patterson wrote, I wasn't expecting a Sam Raimi film to be so damn Sam Raimi. Justin Ives said, I enjoyed it, thought it was better than the first one, loved the chef's kiss to the other IP to come, and enjoyed Walking Dead /28 Wanda's later of Scarlet Witch. Okay. Terrence Kershaw wrote, that scene where they were fighting with the music notes might be the best fight scene I've seen in the MCU. It is definitely up there. I think my favorite fight scene in the MCU was probably T'Challa versus Killmonger. With the tribal fight, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I remember like my heart beating during that scene, like holy fuck.
But I think looking at a sheer brutality, I think it's Wanda taking on the Illuminati.
Oh yeah.
I mean, because that's bro. She fucked them up worse than Thanos fucked up the Hulk.
yeah. Well, the Thanos just choked slammed them. You know.
Thanos. No, you remember Thanos fucking boxed that nigga's ass up. He said, bah, 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 bah.
He hit the Hulk so bad he went dormant for like a year.
He said, "Don't forget to tip your waitress."
Sean C. wrote, I loved it. It wasn't perfect, but it was very entertaining. That's all I can ask from a comic book movie. And yo, Leo wrote, hindsight, it was ass. For the stakes supposedly being so high, the stakes didn't seem to be that high. We went from WandaVision to this. She turned into a villain, really to bloody sacrifice a team to get to her kids. It didn't sell well to me. Also, she only kills the key characters in other universes. They should have killed Wong's ass, but because everything else just seems so cheap because of their lack of willingness to kill people off from her universe. Then she just kills herself. If that wasn't the most underwhelming resolution, bro, I groaned so loud in the theater. And then Straw71 said, I liked it. Not the greatest, but not the worst. If you weren't watching the series, it would probably be that a bit confusing. Black Bolt's demise was amazing. And then Damon A. Williams wrote, I loved it, but I'm going to have to see it again because some niggas were sitting across from me talking the whole damn movie. Well, we hope you have a better second viewing, Damon, but try to go see a matinee so you don't pay full price.
Yep, niggas will be niggas.
Okay, so Justin, break down our rating system, baby.
So stop calling me baby. Don't think I forgot, nigga.
You can't hurt me, man. I'm in LA now.
That's okay. I can still hurt you. So guys, we rate movies bags of popcorn, small, medium, large, and the XL for the exceptional. If a film doesn't deserve any popcorn, we throw it into the dog shit pile. We pop piles and piles of dog shit on top of it. So Brandon, we sat down and we watched the 2020 film Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. Obviously, Benedict Cumberbatch, Elizabeth Olsen,
Rachel McAdams.
Yeah, basically. I mean,
Benedict
great cast.
Wong.
What say you, sir?
Yeah, so this gets a medium. And that's really because of the strength of Elizabeth Olsen's portrayal of Scarlet Witch and Wanda. I thought that it was both the heart and also like the pain of the movie, which is crazy. That's a crazy balance to have.
Mm-hmm.
But again, you only get that payoff if you paid attention to her story arc, the whole MCU thread. But yeah, I feel like they got to write better material for Benedict Cumberbatch and Rachel McAdams. They both are really charming, funny actors, and they should be getting a little bit better material if they're going to be headlining a film. Right. Also, the CGI, I don't know if, like I said, if it was all reshoots, but some of it looked pretty weak. It almost felt like there were some scenes where John Krasinski, it looked like they were clearly on the green screen, but it also felt like kind of like, remember in that recent Dawn of the Dead movie, the zombie movie with the casinos? Remember how they like put in Tika Notaro in for Chris D'Elia? Like she never met any of the cast. They just like kind of filmed it in a way where she was in the scenes with them. It kind of felt like that. There were some weird things like when I was watching this movie, I'm like, they couldn't clean that up a little bit. Like there's just something off. So that's why it's getting a medium.
Okay. Just thinking about it now that you brought her up, in the third one, Christine's dying.
Oh man.
It's not going to be Wong. It's going to be Christine, because if anybody of all people, because Christine is the thread, Christine is the heart of Doctor Strange. So, and typically the third movie, they're going to take away his heart or take away something that's very important, right? So that's going to be the catalyst for, something bigger. So I think Christine's, her going downstairs in the next one. And
why going downstairs, not upstairs?
But she's going downstairs because she married another man. So,
she married a black man too. Stephen Strange became a MAGA MAGA person right when he saw that black dick coming down the aisle.
He's like, oh, she went black. So that being said, I think that Wong is going to survive into like a big conflict, and he's going to then go down in the big conflict, like the major film. Like I said, I think there was a bit underwhelmed, but I also have to admit that I had lofty expectations, and when you get yourself hyped up for something, and you're basically setting yourself up to be let down. So I can't really hold that against this film as much as I think I want to. But Elizabeth Olsen killed this film. She did a great job. Her scenes were, like you said, they were the meat and potatoes behind everything that we saw. Now, I was actually teetering between a small and a medium, but I am going to go with a medium because it's this is really the continuation of Scarlet Witch, and we did get a little bit more into the psyche of like who Doctor Strange is and like his character arc actually continuing on a little bit more. I mean, we are getting into the realm of like, hey, this is Tony Stark all over again, but it's just like the MCU kind of leans on. So I mean, obviously they're going with Benedict Cumberbatch. And but you know, I'm interested to see, you know, how things start to move in the next phase as it comes.
As it comes, we're interested to see. Just how can people follow you, bro? Why are you shaking your head at me?
Yeah. Guys, you can follow me at J Brown.
Oh man, your internet
On Twitter
wild.
and Instagram. Brandon.
Y'all can follow me at American Collins, AmericanCollins.com. You can follow the show at Media MP Podcast on all social media platforms. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube page so you get alert about future interviews and reviews. Get some of that video content. And Justin, if people want to support the show financially, what can they do, my brother?
Oh, brother, take yourself over to patreon.com, $15 packages on there. And we have the rant. What am I watching? Zoom party nights. There's so much content to check out. So be a part of it.
Yes, indeedy, feed the needy. And also, yeah, just, you know, tell your friends about the show. Leave a 5-star review. We'll read it on the show. And don't forget to leave us a voicemail 347-508-0978. And yeah, we hope you all enjoyed this episode. We will try to have a better audio, better internet connection, because you all know this is a par for the course. This isn't our normal setup, but nonetheless, we appreciate you rocking, and share your thoughts with us on Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. Let us know what you thought of it.
All right, y'all. I appreciate you. We hold you. We love you from New York and from LA. And we just make this big old sandwich because you're in between. And then we just
thrust it.
Yeah.
Just thrust.
Oh,
In your ears.
You feel that?
Mm-hmm.
That's us.
Yep.
That's
Manscaped.com, 20% off, butter 20. Use the code.
Get that butter.